Off the top rope.
Okay. That'll be. Oh, I signed this. Okay, you have your own annotated for the rest.
She's got it all over there, I think.
All right. Boom. We'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Wade Kuntz.
Present.
Councilmember Todd is absent, and Councilmember Saper are absent. Councilmember McGrone.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Present.
Next item, Pledge of Allegiance. This evening will be led by Councilmember Wade Kuntz.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving right along. Number 4, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Boom, boom, boom. Item 5, approval of regular council meeting minutes from April 1st, 2025. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item number 6, approval of the special council meeting minutes from April 10th, 2025. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item number 7. Oh, you're looking at me like I...
No, I wanted to say something on this item after you read it, before y'all vote.
Okay, there we go. Number 7, approval of the regular council meeting minutes from April 15th, 2025.
There was an error in them, and it's been corrected. I had the wrong name, so I just wanted y'all to know it's been corrected.
There we go. Now is there a motion with the corrected?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Takes us to item number 8, consideration ordinance declaring the results of the city's general election for council members and mayor held in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri on April 8th, 2025. Bill number 7915, ordinance number 9712.
First reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
An ordinance declaring the results of the city general election held in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri on April 8th, 2025.
Right. I move that Bill number 7915 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9712.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Wade Kuntz.
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
With that, that makes the election
An
results official.
ordinance
And now we
declaring
have
the
to read it
results
again.
of the city general election held in the city of North Kansas City, Missouri on April 8th, 2025.
The last reading always gets me there. Thank you. With that, now the election results are official. And with that, Crystal will do the oath of office for the newly elected officials. So if everyone wants to, you do it as a group, right?
All
I guess
council-
I'm done.
I need Councilmember Bailey, Tom Bailey, Connor Fitzgerald, Amy Clark, and that's all for the council members. To come up.
I saw her. I thought she was in the back. Turbo sign.
She's going to not have one to read, so.
Ward 1 is totally absent. Boom. Oh, I'm fumbling. Congratulations. All right, I'm out. Now, I think, you're the boss now. Now we're gonna take a short break, and I think there's some, assorted things in back. There we go. I didn't see what it was.
If everybody could find their seats, please. We're going to get this thing back in order. So this is my first time running a meeting. Have mercy on me. I'm wearing a tie so I can barely breathe, and I'm going to lean pretty heavily on Crystal to read all the items as we go along. So let's go ahead and do item 10, comments from the public. If you are a member of the public wishing to speak, please approach the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and then we have 3 minutes, and we're also going to try a little something new where we'll have a little back and forth potentially with the council.
Welcome to the new council members. Welcome to the ones that are coming back. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. I noticed my Ward 1 reps are missing in action. That's a whole nother discussion. Tonight, I'm going to speak to you real quick about the Royals because they're back in the news again. I'm here tonight on behalf of, there's a group of neighbors that we get together a lot in person on text. We talk a lot about things going on in the city. And of course, when the Royals news items started coming out, we started talking about that too. So just so you know, we're not here to lobby for or against the stadium. That's not what we're here about tonight. It's a big if the stadium even goes forward. But we're just trying to get out ahead of it because of some of the stuff that happened last time. So again, we're not here to advocate one way or the other, but we are here to advocate for transparency in the process should it come forward so that we can get our voices heard. We're just trying to give you guys a head up. We're trying to get the word out. We went to the Clay County Commission last week, kind of asked them the same thing. Not that they can do anything, but we just asked them, look, just keep the residents of NKC in mind when you go on the news and make these blanket statements about the stadium in North Kansas City. Let's keep the residents in mind, please. We also did an impromptu survey on the North Kansas City Neighbors page on Facebook. Some of you may have seen that. Nothing nefarious about that. We just kind of wanted to get a snapshot of what's going on in people's minds right this minute. It was kind of interesting. If you look at the results, which have been posted, we posted just the raw results, right? And there's nothing to hide. You saw everything that we saw. It was kind of interesting that the fors and against are kind of neck and neck. Quite a few people still have a lot of questions, which was kind of why we wanted to see that. But even some of the people that said, yeah, I'm for it, but I've got a question or two. So, getting that information out, getting people involved and getting some of those questions, it's just going to be a good thing for everybody. The other thing that you might note, too, is some of the respondents on the survey and some of the interviewees, if you will, on the news articles, they don't live in North Kansas City. And it's okay, so they've got an opinion. I think that's great, but what we're asking, our governing body is let's keep the NKC residents in mind. Everybody's going to have an opinion. I tell people all the time, it's real easy to advocate for something when you don't have to deal with it, right? So if they were going to put a penitentiary in Platte County, I could go, yay, because I don't have to deal with it. But I wouldn't want to listen to what those people have to say. So that's all we're really asking you guys is if this moves ahead, again, it's a big if, it's going to be a little bit tough. You're going to have to be a little bit brave when money's going to come calling. So you're going to have to be a little bit brave, but we're just asking you to keep the residents in mind. And we have every confidence that you'll do that. It should go, right along with what you talked about in the campaign. So with that, short and sweet, if you guys have any immediate questions that I can answer, I'd be glad to.
Appreciate you, Dave. Thank you for coming out and sharing that. Does the council have any clarifying questions or thoughts for Mr. Wood? Appreciate you.
Early days, we'll be back.
Thank
Can
you.
Can I get your address?
2414 Erie Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, name and address for the record, please.
Melinda Davis, otherwise known as Mindy Hart, 1008 East 21st Avenue. And I want to kind of elaborate a little bit on what that survey did. We posed 3 questions, and it was simply, are you for it, are you against it, or do you have questions? It was about 40% on each for and against, and then about 17.5% that had questions. Then and then I asked the question, where do you live? And we were able to, 25 of them admitted they don't live in North Kansas City. So then after we posted the raw results, I filtered out the questions and answers from those that don't reside in North Kansas City, and then I posted those results as well. So when you see that, the final results you'll see are from people that live in our community, at least as their self-reporting indicates. So we wanted to keep it very much a taking in the temperature. We learned lessons when Armor Road changed, that the council didn't have all the questions. They didn't have all the answers to those questions, and then Armor Road changed, and then suddenly we had lots of questions. So our thought as residents is, let's ask those questions proactively at the front end, because in all of my years of social work, in all of my years of business counseling, we know that we're going to pay for it on the front end or the back end, and paying for it on the back end is much more expensive. And that's all we're asking, is as you go forth, let's take the temperature. We can put reliable and valid surveys up to take the temperature and do some spot checks, and we can help you. And we can use that North Kansas City neighbors and the residents of North Kansas City page to try and reach as many people as we can. We can do printed surveys if that's helpful. But let us help you so that you have all of the information that you need, not just for the people in your circle, but for all of the residents in front of you. And that's all I'm asking for you today. Congratulations to everybody, and I just have to say there's been a few things that have happened in the last few weeks, and the responsiveness of our city staff and the responsiveness of individuals right here today has been tremendous, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to make comments? Okay, moving on.
Okay, now we'll move to ceremonial items, and there were several proclamations in there. The Arbor Day Proclamation, Local Government Week, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, Older Americans Month Proclamation, and then there were proclamations in there for all of the outgoing elected officials. So now we go to the consent agenda.
Okay, we have the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Consent agenda approved. Moving to item number 31, selection of Mayor Pro Tempore. Do we have any nominations for the Mayor Pro Tempore?
I'd nominate Councilperson Clark. She's been on here for maybe the longest tenure. I'm not sure if her or Saper, but that being said, you know, a lot of knowledge to go off of. So.
The old lady gets the nomination.
As the senior member, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Excellent. Do we have any further nominations for Mayor Pro Tem? Seeing none, we will take a vote. Call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yeah.
Councilmember Salinas, Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone,
Yes.
and Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
It is unanimous. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem. If everyone can speak into their microphones, please, just making sure that it gets on the broadcast. Okay, moving on to item number 32, selection of council member to serve on the Planning Commission. Alvarez.
I would like to nominate Connor Fitzgerald. I think he's very level-headed, and I think he does a great job listening and planning and working all the smaller details out. So I would like to recommend or nominate Connor.
Any further nominations for the Planning Commission? Okay, seeing none, call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Salinas, Councilmember Saper. Whoa, he's not here. Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone,
Yes.
and Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Unanimous again. Congrats, Councilmember Fitzgerald. All right, moving on. Item number 33.
Discussion of purchase and installation of replacement boilers for the YMCA.
Mike.
All right, Mayor Smith, members of the council. Just wanted to fill you on this. A little bit of history for our two new council members here tonight. Prior to January, the city had an agreement with the YMCA to operate and maintain the YMCA, or our community center, for the previous 10 years. Starting this January, the agreement changed to where we do all the maintenance. They still operate and everything, quiet enjoyment, but we do the maintenance. So that's part of why we're bringing this tonight. It originally started out as 2 boilers for the hot water system, but in the last week or so, Dwayne and his crew were working on fixing the pool boiler, or trying to get it, keep it in repair, but then it, for lack of a better term, shot craps. It has a gas leak, so that became an emergency. Right now, the pool at the Y is above temp for what the state requires, but it's chilly. They do know that we're working on this as fast as we can. So there is a request to purchase 3 boilers. We were going to go for 2 on this agenda, but like I said, the third one came up, so.
I just had a quick question.
Councilmember Clark.
Have you guys looked through utilities for incentives, like whether it be Spire or what do we have up here? Evergy, sorry. But have you looked through that as far as before purchasing or evaluating that?
Dwayne,
I don't
yeah.
believe.
Come on, let me make sure your mic's on. There you go.
There we go. Nope, yep, there we go.
Yep.
Mayor and council, what we have over there is an older building. Was built in 1999. So it's very specific as how everything is laid out. So it's kind of like replacing a window with a window. Like we're going to replace a boiler with the same boiler, but a newer energy efficient boiler. Are there other things that we could do someday for energy efficiency and all these kinds of things? I think geothermal came up and some other things like that. Those are all great ideas, but for what we have and for the amount of time that we want to get everything back in service, we've elected to go back with the same exact boiler brand type, but a much more higher energy efficiency to that. So it's not like we can go outside and just buy a boiler. It's not like a hot water heater. It's very specific to the building. So I can check with Evergy and we can check with Spire on if there's any kind of issues or grants or any kind of things that they would be involved in. But we're kind of limited to a single source vendor. That's kind of where we are. Because everything has to fit the footprint, it would cost 5 times more to actually change it out because you have to change all the ventilation piping and all the water piping that goes to the boiler. So I can reach out to them. We're kind of limited with what we have, but we did, like we always do, we take into consideration of energy efficiency, and so we're getting the absolute most up-to-date equipment that we can. And I will say one thing about the pool boiler. When we first put this plan together, we were going to try to make the pool boiler, it was kind of the better of the 3, and they're just at the end of their lifespan. And so, unfortunately, the pool boiler failed. We were going to try to get a control board for that. It's a retrofit because they don't even make the parts anymore. But we were going to try to do that. But as we got into it, we actually found that there's a small leak in there that we couldn't necessarily find. And so then it became a life safety thing. And it's just not safe to try to retrofit something that's leaking gas. So that is the reason why we went from the 2 boilers to the 3rd boiler for this year.
Yeah, I'm just on the Spire website, and I do apologize because I meant to show up with some things, sort of listed. And generally with Spire, it's a rebate situation,
Yes.
so it's kind of like based off of your selection versus getting ahead of it. So
Right.
I just think it's one of those, whatever you're
can-
ordering, if you are ordering a more efficient option,
Yeah.
there are rebates available. It could be worth exploring just to help cover some residual costs that we know always come up.
We can totally do that. We're kind of at the first stage. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of wanting to get yeses so we can kind of get started.
This is exactly,
Yeah,
and
I'm
that's
in the
also-
gate. I just, I'm getting ready to go. I just, But
I think
yeah,
we're all in approval. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going to speak for everybody, but
Yeah.
that's just one thing I would plug in there is just to kind of take a look at that once you order. Especially if you're getting an efficient one, there's generally rebates.
We totally
that'll
can
be
do that.
associated. Yeah,
Yep.
Awesome.
I appreciate the question too, and we had the same kind of conversation. We were sitting together putting the agenda, and Dwayne and Anthony came and said the words gas leak, and we were like, well, we're talking about that now. And so we talked about the boilers, and we talked about options for more energy efficient and cost benefit analysis. It's really that retrofitting piece that's really struck home is those things are snugged into where they're at, and they're on a two-pipe system, which to retrofit that would be very, very expensive. Plus, boilers are pretty efficient as they are, especially on the two-pipe. So who else had questions? McGrone.
I just have a quick one. Are these the original boilers that were installed
Yes.
in 99?
Yes.
Okay, and I guess the average lifespan is probably about 25 years?
Yeah, it's actually quite a bit less.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
all right.
We-
Well,
we-
then these
we-
are
we-
workhorses.
we've been
Let's
running-
get the same ones.
Running on borrowed time.
All right,
Yes.
great.
There's some pictures that I'm sure you could share with the council of what
Ye-
these are looking like now.
Yes, we do definitely take pictures.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yeah, after 25 years, and it sounds like it's time for replacement. But I was curious. I saw there's a $200,000 budget line associated with this. Was that intended to be just for the boilers, or was that for Y maintenance in general at that dollar amount?
Wide maintenance. There's
Okay.
there's the 200,000. I don't have the exact budget, but roughly 500,000 between building improvements and building maintenance that we threw in there. 'Cause at the time, we didn't know what was going to be needed. I appreciate that question because there was also a list that Dwayne and Derek have put together of known repairs right now that was following the memo, and you'll see in there that there were 3 boilers. One of the 2 hot water boilers wasn't working or hasn't been working, so we knew that was coming. That's why those were coming first, and then of course the pool did its thing.
Those were
But-
budgeted at 50 each, right? And we're coming in under that
Yeah.
number.
Yeah,
Right.
we're doing very well underneath the budget, yes.
There's a lot
Right.
of deferred maintenance. I knew we didn't know exactly what we were getting into with redoing that contract, but it is what it is. As you know, if the
Yep.
boilers are broken, I'm not sure there's another option.
There-
It'll certainly be a
list-
year of taking our medicine and getting the facility fully up to speed. And I know Dwayne and his team have their arms around it.
We've got a pretty extensive list since we started. And we've also worked really hard to save the city quite a bit of money by doing the things that we can do internally. And in time, we will be able to actually show you those numbers. But we've probably spent about close to $60,000 since we took over in January.
I will add, though, I can attest, I mean, there's one project that they did where we just bought materials, and I think it was going to be 16,000.
Yeah, it was actually going to be
Or-
16,000.
Yeah, and just the materials saved us
Yeah,
a lot, so
yeah.
it's going well. But yeah, there's 1.3 million on the stuff they've identified so far. So we knew this coming in.
Yep.
But this one is an immediate need.
Yeah. And I mean, of that number you just quoted, we're saving some right now because this is 116,000 versus the 150 we budgeted.
Yep.
So
Right.
any further questions on the boilers? Do we need a motion on this? I say it's a discussion item. Would you like a council yay or nay?
Just a simple motion.
Okay,
would be, yeah.
let's do an all in favor of purchasing the boilers. Or do we need a motion?
I believe we need a motion because
Okay.
there's actually a resolution on there.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? Approved. Item 34.
Acquisition of certain temporary interest in real property for the River Forest Park project for the public purpose of developing a park in the city of North Kansas City. Bill number 7916, ordinance number 9713.
Is this going to be Mike or Anthony?
I can, so this is just to begin the process. This allows us to obtain the easements for the River Forest Park project up on the north end on the hillside. It's not the actual payment or the actual easements, but it allows us to do that. That's all this is.
Any council discussion? Do we have a first reading?
First reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
Okay, this is a long one. An ordinance declaring the public necessity to acquire certain temporary construction easements for the implementation of River Forest Park project in the city of North Kansas City for certain public park, hillside stabilization, and infrastructure improvements, authorizing acquisition of the temporary construction easements in certain lands and all associated appurtenances and improvements by negotiation or, if necessary, by condemnation, authorizing the mayor, the city councilor, the city administrator, and other appropriate city representatives to, 1, obtain and execute all instruments necessary for acquisition of such temporary construction easements, and 2, take such action as may be required or necessary to carry out the intent of this ordinance.
I move that bill number 7916 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9713.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Salinas,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
sorry, Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
An ordinance declaring the public necessity to acquire certain temporary construction easements for the implementation of River Forest Park project in the city of North Kansas City for certain public park, hillside stabilization, and infrastructure improvements, authorizing acquisition of the temporary construction easements in certain lands and all associated appurtenances and improvements by negotiation or, if necessary, by condemnation, authorizing the mayor, the city councilor, the city administrator, and other appropriate city representatives to, 1, obtain and execute all instruments necessary for acquisition of such temporary construction easements, and 2, take such action as may be required or necessary to carry out the intent of this ordinance.
Thank you, Crystal. Could you run that one back for us? Item 35.
Approving accounts due and payable by the city through April 18th, 2025.
First reading.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through April 18th, 2025.
I move that bill number 7917 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9714.
Call the roll.
Well, I need a
I
second.
think I need a second.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Salinas,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone,
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through April 18th, 2025.
Staff comments.
All right, in the packet, our normal upcoming city items of note, the grant tracker, department reports. This is the second month. We did throw them all as one PDF, so they're not separate. But those are all in there. Monthly budget report and our invoice from the Y for the monthly memberships. We'll say that's running approximately $9,000 per month. We used to be at about $3,000, $3,500, so it is popular. I mean, it's really gained a lot of traction. If I remember correctly, there are only about 6, 7, or 8 employees taking part in it, so it is residents. Other than that, Anthony and Kim have some things to add. I'll go ahead and
Yeah, just one comment tonight. So we normally have a shred event every year that we've been holding in front of City Hall, and that because of the construction out front here, we decided to hold that at an auxiliary parking lot. And Sarah Shekels on our team, she had the idea of expanding this event that we have into a recycling event as well. And we had a really good turnout. We had 172 cars come through. It was pretty amazing, all the attention that it got and the amount of material that was collected. One of the items, or one of the ideas that she had, that she partnered with a community event charity organization that brought in multiple different groups, and we diverted about 2,300 pounds of good, like still reusable items from the landfill to be reused. So really good event. We had a really good turnout. Just wanted to note that.
Awesome.
Evening, Mayor and Council. So we received some information, unfortunately a little too late for the agenda packet. It has to do with the Parade of Hearts. So the Parade of Hearts is being suspended this calendar year, and they're going to kind of double down their efforts next year when the Kansas City metro area is hosting FIFA. So because the parameters have changed a little bit, previously we have participated the last 2 years, but they are now asking host communities to pay for the ability to host Hearts. So the entry fee is $10,000, and again, it would be coordinated with FIFA activities. We would not have to actually put that money down to the end of this calendar year, meaning that we'd be able to weave it into next fiscal year's budget, but we do have to kind of verbally commit by the end of this month. Staff's idea, because it is very tourist focused, is to program it out of our Convention and Tourism Fund. I guess what I'd be looking for is either kind of a head nod, a smile, something like that to kind of, and then we would bring that back for a much more formal consideration at a future council meeting.
Does anybody have questions about that or concerns? Participation?
What do we get for $10,000?
So we get added to the app. We get, I am unclear because again, this information is coming to our community, at least at the staff level, pretty late. I do know that we get at least one heart, if not another heart, but really the big thing is to be included in that app. And from what we understand, they're going to be a big push to try to get people to visit all of the hearts.
Do we have any idea how many people the Hearts in previous years have brought to our city?
I'm not sure that I have impressions, and I'm going to badly kind of look at Victoria because the previous Hearts have been hosted in our public spaces. This kind of coordinates with future conversations of, I think that there would be a desire to place the heart where our watch party would be. This way we're kind of lining up and focusing some of that tourist activity into our small business corridors. I do believe that if you are paying as part of a host, you get some input into location and other items.
Any further questions? Would we like a yay or nay, or?
I think right now, if I could just get kind of a thumbs up, head nod, I will coordinate with that committee tomorrow. And then I just have one more quick announcement that the city's native plant sale is this weekend. We are partnering with City Roots. It will be Sunday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Mackin Park. And again, that was one of the City Council strategic plan items, was to be able to allow homeowners to be able to actually source and find a lot of these native plants that we have published and kind of encourage people to plant in their private yards.
Very good. Anyone else on staff? Chiefs? Anything? Nothing? All right. Council member comments. Council member Alvarez.
Yeah, just want to say congratulations to the new council members. I'm glad to have you aboard, and thank you for the ones that have served and are leaving. We appreciate all the work that you put into it. We built some good friendships, relationships, and we'll miss some of those people. So, also I want to say thank you to I think his name was Dave Ward and Mindy Hart for expressing your comments regarding the Royals. I know there's been a lot of talk about that. And just a quick comment that I know in the past there's been a lot of confusion and questions about what they're doing, what they're not doing, and that the council probably knew a lot more than was said, but I just want to reiterate again, we did not. So we could only give out the information that we were given. So I just kind of want to clear that up again. So also, just a quick comment, Dwayne, I'm glad you and your crew are working on the Y and keeping that up. I have a lot of confidence in your ability, and I think the Y will be better for it. So, and with that, that's it. Thanks.
Councilmember Clark.
Awesome. Yeah, to reiterate again, congrats to the newly elected council members. Only one, oh, two being present. I was going to say we're missing one. And yeah, to Dave Wood and Mindy, thank you so much for commenting. Just to really piggyback again, we don't really hear about things. We definitely sat through plenty of meetings in the past about the Royals, and then everything kind of fell off. The thing that happens with any decisions made in the city around big projects is if they're having a private conversation with the landowner and they don't want anything from us, we don't really get involved. But as soon as they want something from us, that's when we get involved. And as for now, I don't know what the desired aspect of what they want from us again. We've sat through the meetings before, but we definitely want to keep everybody informed. I would like to be informed as well in the process. So thank you so much for those comments. And thank you for volunteering to send out surveys and to, to get everybody involved online and getting that feedback that we need. I just wanted to say, Dwayne, I was sitting here poking around waiting for the internet to catch up with my fingertips, and Spire's website, and I sent it to myself to send to the city staff. They're offering rebates up to $15,000 for boiler heating systems and components. So I know that's not a ton when you think about the overall cost, but it's something. We like free money. So yeah, that's it for me.
Councilmember Salinas.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that came out. Also, Mindy and Dave for coming out. Know that I will be listening, of course, and I hope that some of the members will also listen to you guys have to say. Now that the Y, we are responsible for the Y, I'd like to maybe implement something to keep our people safe from what happened recently. So that's something that we could maybe talk about too. I don't know what we can do, but that's an issue that just came up, and I'd like to address that because me and my children visit the Y also. And that's all for today.
Councilmember Bailey.
So first of all, hopefully this is one of my smarter moves. I'm going to thank my wife for taking the time to allow me to do this. So I appreciate Bess for that. As part and separately from that, one of my first responsibilities would be to find a EIC applicant. So if anybody in Ward 2 has the time or the instinct or the willingness to be a part of our EIC committee, that's something we need in our community to have someone step up and fill that role. I would be very happy to hear from them. And to our youth, I include you in that. I am open to all applicants and would love to have a youth member as well. So if you're able and willing, we'd love to have you.
Councilmember McGrone.
So first, I want to say thank you to Bryant DeLong for his service as mayor and as a council member over the last several years. I really enjoyed working with him and getting to know him as a friend, and I think that's what's so great about our town is that the people up here know the people out there, and we all kind of work together and to keep our place the way that it is. So I am going to miss him, but I'm also want to extend a big congratulations to Mayor Smith. I'm looking very much forward to working with you over the next, hopefully more than one more year, but we'll see. Also, congratulations to council members Bailey and Salinas. I'm excited to work with you as well. Dave and Mindy, thank you for your comments. I think we all appreciate your passion and dedication to North Kansas City, and I'm really glad that you guys step up and try to help facilitate some of the things that we might miss or that some other people might not have the knowledge or the inclination or the time to do. And also, finally, way to go, Sarah Shekels, on organizing the recycling event. She was really excited about it, and I'm so glad that it turned out as well as it did. So, thanks.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
It's kind of already been said, but thank you to the folks that came and spoke about the Royals. There haven't been any, I think since in the late 2023 was the last time we heard anything from them. So, we see the same news you all. If they come back and have a request of the city, it'd be good to have, concerns and resident thoughts going into those. So thank you all.
And that leaves me. So mayoral comments. First off, I want to thank my family for coming out. Brooke and the girls, thank you to Ella for sharing her birthday tonight to come out and support. Thank you again to Mayor DeLong, a good friend of mine, loves this city, has served this city since 2017 on the council. And I appreciate everything he's done. I look forward to having him back involved with us when he's ready. Councilmember Todd, Councilmember Wade Kuntz, thank you for serving and welcome back on the Equity and Inclusion Committee. Also, thank you to the new appointees and the reappointees, to all the boards, the council liaisons. That's not lost on me how much extra effort that is, and I definitely appreciate you all being willing to do that. Thank you to Dave and Mindy for coming out and making comments. I hope that we can have more of that, bringing people out to share their thoughts, share their voices. This is something that I'm going to push hard for. We're also going to stand up some opportunities where if people don't feel comfortable to come up to the podium here, it can be intimidating. We'll set up some town halls where I'll sit down and just open the floor for questions. Council members may join for that. And just looking forward to having that open back and forth communication with the residents. I'm also asking staff at this point to look for a communication solution. Mike and I have talked about this a little bit, where we can get a centralized voice out to the residents, where you can select the sort of information you're wanting to receive from the city and get that directly, and a way that you can provide your feedback through that as well. And then the Royals. So a few council members have alluded to that. Comments from the public tonight. I just want to put it out there. We've had no conversations with the team. No one on this governing body is out begging the team to come to North Kansas City. I know that's being passed around. It's got the impression in the community that we are outward asking them to come here. We haven't been approached by the team or the developer at this point. We haven't heard, as Councilmember Fitzgerald said, anything official since the end of 2023. And so it is my pledge during this, if we go down this road again, that we're going to engage the residents. We're going to talk back and forth with you. We're going to share the information we have, and we're going to get your feedback. Those questions that you have, the things that Mindy and Dave enumerated, there's a survey that went around. There's some real good questions, some real boots on the ground affecting the residents, things that we need to talk about before anything is going to move forward. Then we talk about money, we talk about finance, and we talk about what that will look like. But the residents are going to have a say. And pardon the god-awful pun that I'm going to throw out there, but if this is not a home run for North Kansas City, we're not going to move forward. That's all from me. Item 39.
Consideration of a request to hold and recess into an executive session to be held on this date per Missouri Revised Statute, Section 610.0211, potential litigation, and 2, real estate matters.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Salinas,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone,
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
You want to say the thing about all business being done and no more votes?
With that, the live feed will shut off and all business there will be no more business taken this evening.
Thank you all for coming.